time of the week again. Prepare yourself for the surveyors of sauce, the sultans of spaghetti, the whispers in your ears. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the What's Your Spaghetti Policy podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Alex and Jacob.
What are some weird shows that are out there today?
There's plenty.
Desperate Housewives. I'd watch like Desperate Housewives. Maybe like
like
Wife
mid
Swap.
2000s.
I don't know if that's still a thing. Maybe that's the thing, man. They don't make anything that's like super grotesque.
Well, the thing is
super
you
gross.
don't know.
Yeah, I'd be Googling.
You're in your
like,
own sort
weird.
of like bubble of like what's available.
Yeah.
Like I don't think you could name 10 concurrent, like not reruns,
Okay.
concurrent like shows that are actively going right now
Okay.
on primetime television. You can't count sports. Like I'm talking about
Okay.
like sitcoms,
Here we go.
recessionals, all that sort of stuff.
Criminal Minds.
I don't know if that's I don't
that's
know.
always going to. It's never going to go
I don't
anywhere.
know. I think you're thinking of Law and Order.
The Flash.
I don't think the Flash is not going.
Yeah, it has to be.
No, it's not. Flash is over years ago.
Fuck. Okay, I'm not doing so well so far. Big Bang Theory.
Not going anymore.
Whoa, dude. Sheldon. Baby Sheldon.
Young Sheldon?
Young Sheldon, yeah.
I don't know if it's still going. Maybe.
Days of Our
I can't believe
Lives.
people- Yeah, that
That's
checks-
never going to go, right?
So,
That's,
soap operas work.
that's never going to go away. Grey's Anatomy.
Not going.
What? When did that end, dude?
Like years ago, dude.
What is going on right now? That is insane. I have no idea.
The problem is like shows go for like 2 or 3 seasons. I don't know why I'm yelling. And then like they just cancel.
Desperate Housewives.
That's not going. It hasn't been
90
going
Day Fiance. That's never going away.
What about 90
Teen
Day
Mom.
Finance?
Teen Mom 2.
don't think
I think
Teen
it's Teen
Mom's
Mom
going
2 now,
anymore.
right?
I don't know. It regardless, like we were everything has moved over into this like streaming and like Grey's Anatomy got super popular because like all of it was on Netflix, so that's like what you would do and
You
what you
binge
would
watch
or
it,
whatever.
yeah, with your roommates.
But this is sort of a sidebar, but I had sent you a message the other day. I'm like, you ever feel like when you call, customer service pretty much anywhere and they
Yeah.
put you on hold, they're not actually doing anything. They're just trying to prolong it because in my job, I've had to talk to people and I will sort of steer the conversation and be like, yeah, like, let me check this, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And like, and like, they don't want to hang up the phone. And like, I get that part too.
yeah.
But it feels like on that same token, flip side, it's like, they don't want to just like, they have to make it seem like they're actually doing stuff when in reality, they can just click a couple buttons and do what you asked.
I would love to just spend a day in the life of somebody who does customer service for like
And I say that
yeah. What are you saying?
because Disney, I didn't mean to interrupt you,
No,
but
you're fine.
like Disney has like all of them, like Netflix, Hulu, Disney, they all have this thing where you the household thing, right? So we had been letting Christina's cousin use our Disney because like fuck it, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And like I use somebody else's HBO, they use our Amazon, whatever. It does because like that's basically really the only way you can have them all.
Yeah, because again, you would have to take out another mortgage just to pay for each month of
Right.
like how many streaming services there are.
You got to keep talking while I drink coffee, bud.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna let it hang.
No. So, anyways, they say there's no limit, Disney, but that's a lie because there is. So we have, if you count just devices, I mean, we probably have like 10 devices that have Disney on it. Mostly,
Yeah.
and then like it's mostly for Zoe. It's not like I don't watch Disney, dude. Like we have it for her. Like Hulu is the one
There's
that
nothing
I use the
on
most.
Disney that I would think.
Well,
you would be able
Hulu is
to watch.
integrated into Disney,
Yeah.
and there have been times because the Hulu app sucks on PlayStation.
God, it sucks
It
so
crashes all the time during hockey, and I have to like I'll just
It sucks
watch
in general, honestly. Like it's
It
not even
sucks
just
in
like
general.
the PlayStation app. Like,
Right, but all that to say is we couldn't get Disney to work in the house anymore, and I'm like, what the fuck? And you log in, you do the 2-step, blah blah blah. You've run out of households.
Okay. I feel like that's against the rules here.
And you can't, like, even if you go in to on your side and you log out of all devices, it doesn't work. Then you can't get into it at all.
I feel like there should be a failsafe for you to go into your, like, go on to a browser.
Well, they do. Well, they do that for a reason.
Okay.
It's so you have to call them and you have to get scalded, basically. Not really, but I called.
First of all, eat my asshole. I'm paying you money. Like, fucking fuck you. You're not gonna scald me.
Part of the problem is, like, you can do a thing where, like, if you're traveling, you can log in and use like a one time, like a it's called a travel mode.
Yeah, like a one time code. Yeah, everybody's doing it. Yeah, got
logs out after 24 hours. Okay, cool, whatever. So, anyways, they went to go see her cousin a couple weeks ago for a few days, and between her that she's using and then Zoe on her iPad and shit, like, I have like 5 or 6 different devices logged in South Carolina, and it's like, okay, whatever, like, whatever.
Yeah.
So I called Disney because, like, I can't do it. I've logged out of everything, and they're like just sitting here, all these like questions. It's just like, I gave you my email. Like, why do you need my home address? And, like, I get it.
And it feels like they're trying to, like, oh, okay, what's your actual home address, sir?
Yeah, and
I
you, like, told them up front. I said, listen,
right, yeah.
Hey, my, whatever. They went to they accidentally did the home instead of the one-time code. It didn't log them out.
I mean, they probably got tired of fucking entering it in every single time they wanted to watch it on the app. Because I'm sure that it was like every time they opened up the app, it was like, oh, use a one-time code. Like,
it's a little fib because she was using it. She was using it all the time.
I don't know that.
And it's just like, and also, it's also like, I'm fucking paying for it, so who gives a shit? But I call customer service. And, like, it's like, whatever, go through the whole rigmarole. And, like, I guarantee you, I'd put $20 that it takes a whopping 20 seconds. And that's with, like, slow load times on their end to fucking reset it. So explain to me why I'm on the phone for a little less than 20 minutes and 15 of it is on hold. Because it's like, because then you got to do the whole thing, like, they do it and they're like, yeah, we've reset it all, blah 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 blah, and I'm like, so is there a limit? And they're like, no. Then I was like, then why did I get locked out of my own account at home? And, like, well, we have these things. It's like, if there's too many things, it doesn't match up with your IP address, blah blah blah, and it's like,
but you said there's no limit. It shouldn't matter,
right?
Because I mean, like, because if I'm not,
so
I don't know,
have a limit or you don't.
I'm not a big computer dude, all right? I don't know much about the magic that is internet. Right, I don't know how it works, so but I imagine that every device has a unique IP address, right?
Correct.
So
Correct.
if the argument is that, like, well, you have a certain thing, like so many IP addresses, like, then you're fucking lying. Just say there's a device limit, and quit lying about it, because it's like, I can have 900 different devices in my household that all use Disney, and you're sitting here saying that, like, oh, there's no limit. Right. But if I have a different IP address, or maybe it's a regional as well. It could be. Like,
I think it's IP address because I was like, is there a limit? And he was like, no. And I was like, so I can have all the devices in my house? And he's like, yeah, there's iPhones, iPads, Androids, TVs, etc. I'm like, okay. So then he resets it. Okay, great. And then I got to log in because I had already done it on my end. I logged out of all devices.
Got you.
And I did it. And like, I have to be on the phone with him to ensure that it works. And it's just like,
because you spend another hour trying to get a hold of him again if they hang up. Yeah.
Well, that was his suggestion. I was like, yeah, it's working. And I was only concerned if it worked in her TV, on her TV in her room, because that was the one that was like, that flagged the problem to begin with. And it's just like, okay, whatever. And I was just like, not even annoyed, because there's like literally nothing I could do, but it's just like unnecessary. And I know it's very old man yelling at the clouds, but like, I just feel like, even that's with everything. Your bank accounts and stuff like that is a little different, but it's just like, it's
like, what they call in the biz industry sludge. It's like this shit that, like, just complicates things, whether it be on purpose to get you to buy more products, or
to get you to hang up.
It's all designed in some sort of way to do something, whether, like, it's never in your benefit. It's never like you walk away with it, like, with $100 in your pocket. It's always just to give them more money. Yeah. So I don't know, man. It's so stupid. It's
I want to present a situation to people. All right. And I want you.
I'm going to be the people in this situation. I'm going to answer for the people.
No, I want you to chime in, because in a real life bit scenario that turned out to kind of be a bit, but not a bit, because the human nature in which you exist as a person, in the way that you are designed.
Okay.
and it's, you know, not to take it personally.
Are we
but I
gonna
would
go
like
into
to.
this again?
Yeah, we're gonna go into this.
Are we gonna go into this
I
again? We
I
gotta-
want to ask, you know, I guess it was last week or so we had sort of
Please.
talked about influences of like how do you go into something without any sort of preconceived
Oh, okay.
idea
Gotcha.
on whether or not something is good or bad or whatever. And then like sometimes I think you're a natural gaslighter.
Like
Like you
like
just
an accidental gaslighter.
like you do it not knowing that you're doing it because
Mm.
you've tried to live this fucking troll ass bit lifestyle for so long that it has now engulfed your actual personality.
Maybe it could be. I guess it could be like
Okay.
one scenario. Yeah.
And I think that sometimes you don't realize you're doing it. And maybe sometimes I have known you for so long that I perceive you as doing it, and maybe you're just dumb.
That's also very valid. Like if people are gonna be like, "Whoa, he just called him," like, no, I mean it's very valid. I could actually just be being stupid. Like
Because
I've called myself out on it. You know.
all right, I like the preface is like don't take this personally, and like I don't, but I kind of do.
Okay.
And not in a nefarious way. It's more of like fuck you, you know.
Yeah.
That's how I take it. I had mentioned to you last week about, oh man, you know, like there's this new movie called Sinners. We couldn't fucking think of the name of it, right?
That's
And
right.
I was like,
yeah. Okay.
I was
Yeah.
like, I've heard it's really good, and like, you know, then we continued to talk about all that, and I believe I had mentioned it to you before we got on the pod, and I was like, oh man, this is like, you know, this is a new movie coming out, sounds really cool, looks
Yeah.
really cool, whatever. And then you kind of just like no sold it, like, okay, great, whatever. Not even 24 hours later, this motherfucker, you, like, bro, last podcast on the left was talking about this movie called Sinners, and they said it's really good.
Okay, see, you're making it sound like I had not acknowledged the fact at
You
all
did-
that you
Okay.
said you had told me about it previously, because I'm pretty sure in my text message chain that I was like, "Hey, I guess you and last podcast on the left are talking about this movie. I guess it's pretty good," you know. So that was like, I don't want people to think that I was just like completely ignored your suggestion of the movie.
But my shitty response to you,
Yeah.
because I took it one way, right, was, oh,
you chose to take it personally, is what you did. Yeah.
I was like, oh, I say it, you don't give a shit, and then suddenly this podcast that you've been listening to
For the
longer
last
than you've been
10
friends
years,
with me,
yeah.
suddenly they mention it, and now all of a sudden you fucking give a shit.
Yeah. And
But hold on,
Okay.
there's more. And then it's just like, oh, whatever. Like again, I was leaning into it a little bit. I actually did.
got you,
I
yeah.
wasn't as I was trying to ruffle your feathers because I
Yeah,
saw
you
an
didn't do it though.
opportunity.
I didn't get ruffled at all. So
You fucking did.
I didn't care.
And then I guess it was Friday. No, it was Thursday
Yeah.
of last week. You had you're like, dude, NPR says that Sinners
No, that
is
was
really
like
good.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, huh, crazy or something like that. And it was like there was a switch that had flipped where like it took three fucking individuals. And I get it, but there is that threshold where if too many people tell you something, like me, my natural thing is to be like, well, there's like it then builds it up to this like grandiose thing that like there's no way that it's as good as everybody says it is. And like by and large, a lot of times when everybody flocks to a thing,
Yeah.
you're just like, there's like, this sucks, like this is terrible, whatever. And then so I was like, wouldn't it be fucking crazy if we just we went to the theater and saw
Yeah.
it? And you're like, and then you're like, wouldn't it be fucking crazy? We went.
What? Okay, so like the whole bit though was that like I was legit. Okay, so I had texted you that NPR was now talking about it, right? And like to your point about like too many people talking about it, and yes, that is a thing, and that definitely can't happen. But in my mind, it's more so like specific people who are talking about it, right? And so you have talking about like, hey, you know, Sinners, because you don't normally, you won't recommend something out of just the want to not, I don't know like the word for it, but like you basically like you're only going to recommend something if it's good, right? You have really good recommendations. That's your whole thing, right? And that's not me making it sound like that's you telling everybody that's legitimately like everything you've recommended me has been good, right?
We talked about it last week.
So you're talking about it, right? And then the next day,
But if I recommend something to you, your ears, and like to you specifically,
Yeah.
your ears should perk up because again, I have a reputation of not liking anything.
Right.
So if I have an interest in something, your ears should perk up because that part of being hard to please, quote unquote, or that I don't like anything, quote unquote, is that when I do, then you're like it's gonna be a certified banger.
Yeah. And that's true. And it should, my ears should perk up. But honestly, like my ADHD, right, gets the best of me most of the time. But
Sure.
so you're talking about it, right? And then not even more than like, I would say 12 hours later, I get a notification, you know, Last Podcast on the Left talking to, who's Ryan Coogler, who was the director of it, right? I was like, oh shit, okay. So I started listening to it and like listening to him talk about it, listen to the Last Podcast guys talk about it, because they already seen the movie as well. And like knowing that we have similar interest in like, like that horror zeitgeist, basically they were like fucking just giving it all sorts of praise or whatever. So I was like, okay, like yeah, this seems pretty legit. And then I get in the car on Thursday, and I think it was me and Shelby were going grocery shopping, and I get in the car and they're talking about it, like NPR talking about something that I've already heard 2 previous sources talking about. I was like, you know, this might be a bit of a banger here. This might be a bit of a banger here. And so so I texted you that. And then immediately, like after I texted you that, I was like, yo, would you be all right if like me and Alex went and seen a movie tomorrow? And she was like, yeah, sure, dude. Yeah, you could do that. Absolutely. And she was like, maybe Saturday too, if you guys wanted to go. And that's why I was texting you. And I was driving, so I couldn't immediately launch into like, hey, you know, well, you want to go see this movie. But that's whenever I got to Aldi and you had already texted me like, would it be fucking crazy if we went and seen that? And I was like, would it be fucking crazy if we went and seen that? And I was like, excited. I was hyped about it, dude. And like, lo and behold, like, I won't go into any spoilers or anything like that, but like, movie fucking
We can talk
rocks.
about it a little bit, but we won't go into spoilers because it is a fresh movie that just came out. But
Yeah.
hey, I saw a movie on opening weekend.
Yeah, which is crazy.
We saw a movie.
That is the first time I've seen a movie on opening weekend in at least a decade. Like it's like I have not been to the movie. Like we went and saw Minecraft, obviously, but like, come on.
Marvel movies, right?
Yeah.
You've seen a couple of Marvel movies.
I've seen a couple
maybe?
Marvel movies back in the day when me and Shelby first started dating. I think we went on a couple of trips to like.
I remember like when we worked together, you would went on like on a Sunday or something.
Maybe I can't remember exactly. It's been a time. I don't go to the movies very often because
I don't either. That was the craziest part. Was like the universe in a sense lined up because
a really weird way. Yeah.
My family was not here last weekend. They were at a wedding that I couldn't go to. I had
Yeah.
to watch the dogs. And I was just like, well, I don't have anything else I don't fucking have anything else to do.
Yeah.
There is no excuse why I can't go. Now, I had thought in my head before the opportunity had presented itself, I was like, I might just fucking go by myself.
I was thinking
like,
you might. Yeah. I was thinking it was like.
I was like,
this
I
feels
don't, because I did like I love being at home, but it's different. Like being at home for a day versus being at home for 3 days and like not having any human interaction other than like talking on the phone. Like I don't know, it just feels different, you know? And so I was like, I don't, there's no hockey on, you know, the playoffs hadn't started by that point. And so like, okay, fuck it. Like there's no reason. And it's one of those, I can't go see every movie because financially I can't fucking afford it.
Yeah, we basically spent a small house payment to fucking go see this thing. But
I understand. We went on a Friday. Friday night movies have always historically been more expensive because like it's what people used to do. They used to go to movies on Friday night.
yeah,
You know, that's why you have matinee prices or whatever. But like for 2 tickets, and again, our theater where we live, Regal Cinema's headquarters is here. So like we have a really nice Regal Cinema.
yeah, they got a giant slide in the thing. It's crazy.
And like they have a giant slides, 2 stories, lots of lights and shit. We have a 4DX, we have an RPX, we have a regular, we have an IMAX, we have all sorts of fucking shit. Like all the different ways to see shit. And for 2 adults on a Friday night at 6:30, to see regular standard ass shit is fucking $40.
Yeah.
$20 a person, guy. And like that goes into a whole like that has nothing to do with inflation. That is like movie
it feels like
prices
it's always
have
been
been
that, yeah.
exorbitant for years.
Yeah.
And then to the point to where like COVID happens and then they're like, well, we got to make money somehow. And people just kind of got used to not going to the movies.
yeah,
I will say that there is a bit of an experience and it's a bit different, not necessarily watching it with people, but watching certain movies in a theater. Like I remember watching John Wick 4. Like I think that John Wick 4 was the last non-children's movie I saw in theaters and I saw it by myself. that was an experience. I talked about it on the podcast. Like it was incredible. Like, and I don't know. I've only watched John Wick 4 once since it came out in theaters, like because I have it.
Yeah.
And it's great. But I don't know how much of that equates to like I saw it in theaters versus I've already seen it, just because like the big screen, whatever. So like there is an experience, but I just don't understand, dude. Like we got a small pot. Well, you and I had split a small popcorn, which was $8. I got a bottle of water, which was $8. So with taxes here, it was $18
for a
and
bottle of water.
The worst
Popcorn,
part
baby.
Was the fucking popcorn was dog shit.
And like, what are you supposed to do in that situation?
It's terrible.
It's like you spent $8 on a pop, and it's. We should have said something, honestly, because like I'm trying to be in this era of like if why I get for my money, to me it was stale. To me it feels like it had been there
popped for a while, but there was no fucking salt on it. And I don't know how everybody else's movie theater works, but like this one, you have your own butter thing. You go over there and you put your own butter on there, which I think should be
loaded
standard.
the fuck up, but
because I was trying to get some taste on that thing because there was no fucking salt. There was none, dude.
It was zero.
Just eat air. I love popcorn. Popcorn's a thing that I can just eat. It's like chips and nachos for me. Like I will eat. I'm a gluttonous fool. Like I'll just eat it.
You put put a fresh batch of tortilla chips and salsa out there. I'm gonna have to eat it. Like I'm paying for it.
I can't stop.
You can't.
It's the problem with like when I go to Mexican restaurants is I end up not eating a lot of my dinner because I have eaten 3 baskets.
You ever just gone to a chips? If you're just gone to a Mexican restaurant and just ate a basket or two of chips and then like got a drink and then left?
No,
I haven't either. But I feel like it should be more of a thing. But it'd be nice. They'd probably bankrupt the.
I feel like you would have to be charged for it. It's like Chili's, where I was always under the impression that chips and salsa were free at Chili's.
I think they're an appetizer now, bro. Like it's like
right. But I think, it's also like isn't.
It's like the bread and stuff you get at Texas Roadhouse or like the fancy restaurants where like you have to order something first before they'll bring it out.
It is free if you order something, and didn't Olive Garden used to be the same way
with breadsticks.
With the salad and breadsticks was free.
Yeah,
but then
unlimited salad soup.
Way back in the day. Obviously, in like the last 10, 15 years, like you have to. It's part of your meal. But like I used to think all that shit was free. I don't know. Maybe I was just naive.
But it's like one of those things where it's like nothing's free. Come on, guys.
Nothing is free.
Yeah.
So I mean, I very much enjoyed going to the movie because it was just like it was nice. Like our theater is really nice, but. We half joked that like, oh, we're gonna have to take out it because we had talked about financing a fucking burrito and shit. It's like, oh my god, like
finance a popcorn real quick.
Finance a popcorn.
Do you have like a payment plan for this large popcorn or like?
And the guy seemed annoyed with me because he told me the price, and I was like, I was gonna pay with card, and then I had cash, and he was just like,
yeah, like, you gotta press like, 2 extra buttons real quick.
Oh god,
yeah, dude. And I felt like I was, okay. You have a bunch of shit on the countertops, right? You have a bunch of shit on the countertops. It feels like you're trying to sell that shit, right? So if I'm sitting here like trying to ask about prices, don't make it feel like it's some kind of burden to you. It's like, dude, fucking, it's out here to sell.
He's also a fucking high schooler and doesn't.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And $30 for fucking Minecraft pit. I mean, granted,
I love this whole thing because we're like talking about a movie. It's some sort of fucking experience, but we're like, we're in our mid-30s.
Complain about every single step of it.
We have children and like. Going to see an adult movie opening weekend sans children is kind of a big deal because like we just don't have the time for it, and you go in there and the movie starts at 6:30 but it actually doesn't start till 7:10.
We're literally just old men yelling at the clouds because it's fucking this. It's like, hey, I get it, you got to make sales somehow, you got to get people back to the theaters, and the trailers are a big part of it, but like I think we need to change it up. Movie starts on the dot at the time you say it does.
I swear, dude.
Ads
maybe
can
have a
start
Mandela effect.
15 minutes beforehand.
I feel like back in the day, a movie that started at 6:30 because the trailers played before 6:30.
It should be that way. That's how it should be.
In high school, right? You didn't get to pick your seat. You had to get to the theater early, get your shit, and find your own fucking seat.
Yeah. You didn't have this assigned seating thing that we do now.
Now, listen, I love assigned seats.
I do too.
That's dope.
There's no fight for it. Yeah.
That's fucking dope. I don't have to worry about seat
how
anxiety.
Full the theater is too.
You don't have to like walk in and be that fucking weirdo where like you walk in and everyone's staring at you. Yeah, right. Absolutely. That you can't see it on the
You know?
audio version.
Oh yeah, so
But
I'm looking around pointing at seats. Yeah.
yeah, and so there have been improvements, but whatever. I'm not gonna shit on Marvel, but man, that was the first time I saw the Thunderbolts trailer, and it looked fucking terrible. It looked fucking awful, man. Like
It looked
so
like
bad.
Suicide Squad. It
Yeah,
looked like
it's essentially what it
It
is.
looked like Marvel's Suicide Squad, and
It's
it's
essentially what it is.
and it looked about as
But
good as Suicide
man,
Squad looked. So
and I have another confession to make for you.
okay,
All right. I saw the teaser trailer for Sinners, I don't know, in like November or whenever, like not the full official trailer. The like when they basically announced that this movie was coming out.
is it based on
Whenever.
something, or is it just like a new original film?
I think it's a new thing, whatever. I mean,
Okay.
it's taken liberties from like
Yeah, and it's
historical stuff with like the blues and vampires in the deep south and shit. I saw that, whatever. I never watched the trailer after that. I literally went to the movie not really knowing what it was about.
hell yeah, dude.
I knew what it was about. Again, like I knew
I knew there were vampires in it. Sorry,
I
spoilers
knew it was
if
a
you guys don't know
vampire
there's vampires
movie.
in
I
it.
knew it was a vampire movie with Michael B. Jordan in the South, based off of the teaser that I saw months ago.
Yeah.
But the actual official trailer that's like 2 minutes, I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it.
To be honest with you, I didn't either. I didn't.
Yeah, right?
I honestly, the only reason I knew about it was because every time you listen to the last podcast on the left, that like it plays the commercial for it before they start the ad. Yeah. So
Do you think that contributed to the joy of the movie?
not knowing,
A little bit. I mean,
Absolutely.
knowing
Yeah, not
the general
knowing.
synopsis, but because movie trailers give away everything now.
not having seen anything about it, I had no expectations of like, oh, when does this happen? When does this happen? Etc. And it was very nice because it's like the entire movie, I had no idea like what was going on, where was getting, and that's the. I don't know if we're going to do like a movie club episode about it, right? We've talked about it, but like just for no spoilers here, but it's like there's so many. It feels like there's so many genres in this movie, like as far as genres being like different types of movies, that like it felt kind of like it gave me whiplash a little bit because you bounce around in the movie in a good way. Let me say in a good way, where it's like going from almost like chapter to chapter to chapter, and it's very well done the way they do it. But like it was such a fun ride, not knowing what to expect.
It does that thing that's super prevalent now, where the movie starts at the end,
Which is it. I don't want to spoil too much, but legit gives me. I was 100% at the end of the movie saying like, it's fucking John Wick, dude. It's fucking John Wick. It's the first John Wick. It's insane the way that they open and close it. It's so good.
There was only, you had mentioned it, but there's only one part in the movie that I noticed the CG, because it didn't it didn't line up. It definitely looked, because slight spoilers, Michael B. Jordan plays two people.
No, they talked about that in the ads for it. Yeah, no, you're good. Like it's
There's two people.
Yeah,
he plays twins, right?
Yeah.
And so there is, the first time you see them,
makes you worry a little bit because
the first time you see them, it definitely looks like it was filmed, and they're trying to splice it together. That was the only time. And in my head, I noticed it. I'm like, okay, whatever, it's fine.
Yeah.
But I am not a horror guy, right? I've said it numerous times. I don't really. It's not that like I'm like, oh, it's scary. I'm just not a horror guy. I like horror adjacent. I like uncomfortableness. I like suspense, but like full blown horror, not so much. I like, vampires are a good genre, like a good way to get it, because they're believable. They have restrictions. Like you even asked me that one time. They're like, well, why can't they just walk in the barn?
No, my thing was like, okay, so there's one moment where a new vampire is created, let's just say, and immediately they know that they have to be invited in, which is a common vampire trope, right? It's a common vampire trope that like they have to be invited into the place that before they can do anything, right? And so as soon as it happened, I was joking. I was like, how do they know? How do they know that they immediately have to ask? But then they did a great thing where they explained it later in the movie, and I was like, oh shit, like that's great, because it's like, yeah, because it gets explained a little bit later on as to like what's going on. So
the origin of vampires being an invitation is needed. They are often depicted in folklore and fiction as needing an invitation to enter the home or residence. This is a tradition that stems from the concept of a threshold or a boundary that separates a home from the outside world, and vampires, as undead beings, are unable to cross the threshold without permission. The invitation represents a symbolic welcome or permission that then allows the vampire to enter the space.
Yeah. And it's okay. That makes. I think it feels like kind of arbitrary rules that were created like around the time the vampires were created.
But then because vampires aren't real.
Yeah. Then again, it's like, well, this is the thing. I don't. Yes, you and I, we know vampires aren't real, right? But historically speaking, we think that there's no known evidence of vampires being real. There are people, obviously, in this day and age that claim that they are vampires.
There
and,
are
hey,
energy vampires.
They are energy vampires for sure. And but I do think, historically speaking, that vampires have come from somewhere, right? They obviously like probably weren't called vampires the entire time. Most likely, it was like because in the movie Ryan Coogler when I was listening to the last podcast, he goes into like detail about how he did the movie. And they did extensive research. They had a lot of consultants to get the lore basically behind all the different things they talk about in the movie, to get like firsthand accounts of like the actual historic lore about where these things come from. So there's like one character who's talking about trying to identify the monsters at hand, and she's calling them. Is she calling them hates the whole time?
Funny story about hates, but yes.
Okay, I'll get that in a second. But they talk about how like
HAITS.
Okay, because she's talking about calling them hates and whatnot, and like all the stuff that he put into the movie has been like researched. He's has actual people who like know the history behind the certain things. So it's like, so it feels truly like it's a very well done movie with all they're talking about. I know Django Unchained did it. I'm still uncomfortable with the hard R's there, like the hard R's, like but because of the timing that the movie takes place, shouts out, what is that? Trigger warning. They do use the N-word and they do use hard R's, but again, they are in 1921 South. So,
yes. What's funny is when we go into, we're big Hunt Showdown fans. So like we're just sitting there having like, bro, it's that good, bro. Look at that.
They used the marathon.
They
fucking used the marathon, dude. That was so great. I was sitting here. I was thinking. I was like, oh, is that the Ranger 73, which is a gun and hunt? And I was like, then he started using the lever action and the way that it sounded. And I was like, nah, dude, it's the marathon. Absolutely the marathon. So yeah, I was being a nerd for sure.
Oh, 100%. And like hates is like not something that until yesterday I had ever heard of. I did not know. Did not know what it was. But sometimes you ever feel like you're in a fucking simulation where, okay, so that was a thing, and I gathered what it was through the movie. Lo and behold, I come home and I finally start South of Midnight, and guess what?
Haints, Haints. Sorry, I wasn't clear because that's, again, I think they need subtitles in movie theaters. I'm saying it because I don't always hear the words the way they're supposed to be said, and it's Haints. But I thought you were saying hates the whole time, like HATES. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry,
yeah.
Cut you off.
So Haints. So, anyways, I come home the day after that shit. I come home after the movie,
yeah,
and then I start playing South of Midnight.
Start talking about it.
Haints. They're like, because the whole thing is in this, like it's in like Louisiana,
and which is crazy. It's like the timing of it, dude. Fucking
that's what I'm saying. With like
and South of Midnight coming out at around the same time, if not like at the same time. That's insane.
Right.
That's like the synchronicity
and
for sure.
I think that time, I love period pieces, and I think that geographical location and the history and all that stuff is just like prime for picking, man. Like it's a very good time period for things, for stories to be told, because you can, you embed yourself in sort of like this is real. This is like, and that was the thing about the stuff in the movie where there's so much stuff that's like all this checks out. Like,
yeah, it made me uncomfortable. No, I will say it made me very uncomfortable, yes. But in a good way, because it's like it's one of those things where like while yes, it's about vampires and it's a vampire movie, there is real things that are taking place in the movie that happened and that have happened and that unfortunately still continue, like to a certain extent continue to this day. I would say it's the best vampire movie I've seen since 30 Days of Night. I would say it's the best vampire movie I've ever seen personally because I've never seen 30 Days to Night. So
It's I like that style of vampire.
yeah,
Sort of evil and sadistic
and it
and
made
convincing.
Man, I highly recommend it. I think that people listen to this, if you haven't seen it
There's-
yet, fucking go see it.
What I also like about it, and I told you when we left, is that this is not supposed to be a full-blown movie review, but it has the B movie feel without the B movie hokiness.
Yes.
Because that's the thing, like, I don't love the camping. Like, camp can work sometimes for me, but I by and large don't really like it. Like, just the hokey nature of stuff, and it's not full blown like suspense all the time. And I'll be honest with you, like the first hour and a half is a lot of build up,
A lot
and
of build
a
up,
lot of background, and that's fine. I like
but it doesn't.
It,
Go ahead. Sorry, I don't mean to.
it was building up. Like it did a good job of building the steps of like you understand watching this. Oh shit, like shit's gonna fucking happen. Like it's all gonna build up to this culmination of things. And but there were moments where like they would break the tension with like, I think I just shit myself, you know.
He's such a fucking good actor too.
And, like,
He's
stuff
been in
like
stuff
that.
before. I can't remember his
Oh, yeah.
name, but like he's such a good actor.
But it
Slim is what his name
does
is.
a very good job of believability in a horror movie that I often don't find. And that's my biggest aversion to horror in general. And even going back to that same sense, like, you know, I talked about last week where I'm going through and I'm like rewatching Alien franchise. And it's so funny how you can watch something, again, that movie came out in 1979. So 50 years ago. And I'm sure at the time, and when I watched the first Alien, had to be, you know, high school or before. Loved it, dude. Obviously, a lot has changed since then, and I even talked about it in our Discord. I'm like, everybody on this ship is fucking dumb, and I was immediately just like taken out of it because it's the same shit that I don't like about Friday the 13th and Halloween and all that shit because like these people are fucking stupid.
Yeah, like this,
They're so dumb.
You get taken out of the believability because it's like in reality, like it's a joke, right? It's the joke that like just go, just leave. You know, like just hop in your car and leave. Just call the cops. Like it's like it takes you out of the believability of it. And like I get it. Like to a certain extent with those movies, you're supposed to take a step back and just watch it.
But
with
does everyone have to be a fucking idiot?
And it's everybody in the movie is fucking
Everybody, dude. Whereas in like this one, it's you know, everything happens really quick and like, you know, they don't really fucking understand what's going on until once they do.
And that's. Oh, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Like that's the thing that I loved that the movie did really well is that in most of those styles of movies, either one, everybody immediately knows what they're dealing with, right? So it's like this, like, and it gives you this feeling of like, oh, you're the one being left out because
Zombie
you're not
movies
in
do
this.
that.
Yeah, and then or two, everybody's fucking oblivious, and the whole time they try and spend the entire movie trying to figure out and like come up with a name for it or whatnot. This movie, it's like. There's one character who knows exactly what's going on, like what it has an idea of what's going on.
She has an idea.
She has an idea of what's going on, and then informs the other people who are not
Need convincing,
but then also they have this air where it's like they do so well with the believability because like you feel like the characters too don't react in a way in which you wouldn't react, right? Like because they're not losing their fucking minds. They're like what? I mean, they are at certain points, but like they aren't fucking questioning God and shit like that, like right, like it's just more so just like I guess this is happening, we've got to fucking deal with it. And like,
there is a bit of
just
a religious like undertone at the very beginning, but what I really appreciate is that like they didn't set on it too long and like fucking cram that shit down your throat.
Yes.
Which
And
but again,
it's
here's a forewarning for anyone. If you are one of those woke warriors who thinks that everything that is not white is woke, you are gonna hate this movie.
Hey, if it's a testament to why I think you should go see the movie for anything for this movie, the ending is absolutely
Pretty fucking dope.
It is absolutely the only reason you should see this movie, if not for any of the other reasons we've already talked about, because the ending will have you certain people hooting and hollering, jumping up and down, clapping, crying, having a great time because it is fucking phenomenal. It is. I was wondering what last podcast were talking about when they were talking about the ending. I fucking get it, dude, and it's fucking.
And it's
awesome.
kind of like a switch too. It kind of switches tones.
And it's God fucking damn, dude. Like that ending was fucking beautiful. But I wanted to bring up one quick point, if you're
Okay.
ready to move on, that is.
Yeah.
So there's a new, I think it has to be addressed. There's a new Final Destination movie coming out, right? And I have only had anxiety for the last 24 hours because they showed the commercial, the ad for it. I don't know what they call those. What do they call those? Trailer. That's what that's called.
Trailer.
They showed the trailer for it before they played the movie, and I was an anxiety ball of mess because those movies are responsible for a lot of trauma in my life. And I think it's unnecessary. I think it's unnecessary. And I think and I come to the conclusion this morning, those movies are stupid.
Are you gonna go see it?
Absolutely not. And because the thing I hate about them, I just realized this morning, is that they're ridiculous. You talk about being unbelievable. You're telling me that, okay, so the premise of this movie, this Final Destination movie, is that it's where it all started, right? It's where this lady saves a bunch of people in this fucking building that's supposed to collapse. You're telling me that fucking death, right? This omniscient being, whatever the fuck that word is, has to wait 50, 60, 70 years before it starts picking people off. Fuck out of here, dude. It would just it's so stupid to me. But anyways, yeah, it's stupid. So
Yeah, I was sitting next to you in the theater, and you're just like, I could just see it. Because like it didn't take long for you to realize what this movie was.
I knew 10 seconds into the trailer because it had the same shot style. It had the same setups.
Focus on like things that could kill you.
Yeah, and I was thinking about it, and it's 100% where a lot of my anxiety, where a lot of my this focus on choking comes from. It so this focus on just random things fucking killing you.
Stepping on a piece of glass. And
stepping on a key. And I was thinking about that too, and I was like, stupid, right? The most that guy suffers is fucking gets his hands chopped up, right? Because
I think he got ran over by a lawnmower.
He did get run over by a lawnmower. That's fucking disgusting. Okay, I understand the whole point of these movies is to be fucking disgusting and gross, but it's like, get the fuck out of here. This shit is so dumb. Anyways, we can move on now. So,
tell me about Four Tops.
I have to fucking remember this story, dude. Okay. So I don't know if you guys know this. There's this Motown. I think it's a Motown group or something like that nature. Yeah, it's a Motown group called the Four Tops, right? Never heard about them. Obviously, not my style of music, not my jam. Well, one of the Four Tops, right? Good old what was his name? Alexander Morris. He was complaining of chest pains. That's right. Okay, so he was complaining of chest pains, right? So you go into the hospital, right? You're complaining of chest pains. What happens? They say, okay, let's check it out. Let's get you an EKG and whatnot. He decided to go to the hospital complaining of chest pains, but then also trying to give.
What year is this?
This is
2008.
2024. Yeah, this happened back in June. Literally just happened back in June 2024.
Okay.
So he goes into the hospital and immediately, he's complaining of chest pains, but at the same time is trying to convince everybody around him that he is, in fact, one of the lead singers of the Four Tops. All right? So if you were a doctor, somebody's trying to convince you that they're the lead singer of one of the lead singers of the Four Tops, what is your reaction? What do you, that they're complaining of chest pains?
I think you got to focus on the chest pains. I don't think you focus on the fact that it's somebody, because people come into the hospital all the time saying weird shit.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think
You take everything at face value.
Yeah, my whole point is that you kind of just give them that, okay, buddy. Well, we're gonna check those heart pains for you, those chest pains for you. Okay, get this EKG run and make sure you're not having a heart attack or something like that. Okay, I don't focus on the fact that he's trying to convince me he's the lead singer of the Four Tops, because honestly, I don't give a shit who you are. Right? You could be Michael Jackson reincarnated. I don't know. Fucking whatever. I'm gonna focus on the heart pains, right? The chest pains that could be heart attack.
That's what you're supposed to do as a doctor.
Yeah, this doctor didn't do that though. Instead,
no,
they slapped him in a straitjacket and tossed him in a room. I think it was for upwards.
That's weird.
Yeah, for quite a while, right? All the while, they were very negligent. They just didn't give him any treatments, and eventually, it was found out that he indeed was one of the lead singers of the Four Tops. I have a bit of contention here because he only took over the lead singer because the other guy died back in 2008. But I mean, it's whatever. It's calling him the lead singer is kind of okay, he's just the second best. He's not technically the lead singer; he's a backup singer. But whatever.
People switch singers all the time, though.
And I just think if you're this guy, like, why not just fucking go get hard? Like, why do you have to make it known that you're the lead singer of the Four Tops? And like, you start all this, begin with. But hey, certain people deal fame differently, I guess.
It's that whole, don't you know who I am?
Yeah, exactly. And it's the kind of the pretentious part of it. But
Right.
I mean, it was just a fun little story. I was just like, yeah, like, imagine.
What do you think the next evolution in like phones are?
Implant them directly into your brain.
You think so?
I
Or
think
like the hologram. You remember, dude? Gosh, it feels so crazy that the Google Glass
Yeah, and Pixel. I
was
think
like
yeah.
15, 20 years ago at this point,
And
dude.
it was such a flop. It feels like, again, it's like the PSP, where it came out before its time, like, right? Like, it's because that's where everything went. It got there, but it became, you come out 10, 15 minutes too early.
VR
15
was
years too early.
like 3D movies had been a gimmick for it had happened and then it didn't happen and then
They
like,
invested way too much
times.
money in it, is what they did.
Right, and then you had the Switch is essentially just a successor to the Wii U, and the Wii U failed for multiple reasons, but the world wasn't ready for that like home console like handheld hybrid. And it's like we're now at an age where we're seeing stuff happen, go away, come back. I think
And
that
at least you going like, fuck it, did we do this already? Like,
there's that, but I think there is a lot of truth in the sense that like, well, the world's not ready for this yet.
Yeah.
The world's not ready, but I think we've also crossed a certain point with social media and sort of those things where, by the way, sidebar, I was correct in my statement that because I hadn't seen much about it other than the fact that flight had happened, or the all women space thing.
yeah, okay.
There is a giant conspiracy that it was not real.
Oh, okay.
Apparently the door fucked up. You could there's a screenshot of like it looks like a girl or like a mannequin is just laying there on the window. The door opens
Yeah.
right when they land from the inside, and they have to quickly close it so that
dude.
Bezos can go open it. I say open it but like I don't give a shit one way or the other. And there's people like, well, they were that technically they did go past the threshold that is considered space, but they were only up there for 14 minutes. They're not actually in space. Dude, I don't care.
It's, again, yeah. My player's just like, why does it matter? Why do they have to do it in the first place? Is it like a test run to see how people react to it? Like, are they going to be mad? Like, I don't fucking get it. Like, we were upset because it's like rich people doing rich people dumb shit. I think you're wasting your, like, but then to them, it's just like, it's not wasting money. It's just fucking, it's like our Disney World, like.
Shout out to Jim and his home country. There was a sign like close to like a bus stop or something. It was like, if you have the money to send people to space, you have the money to pay healthcare, fix the planet, or whatever, pay wages or some shit like
honestly, any of those really works. If you want to do any of those, more than like flying in space.
But like the cell phone, it's weird to have lived in the time before it was a thing. I mean, obviously, cell phones existed in like cars and shit. Like you watch all the 80s.
They are bricks.
Like,
they were little bricks. Yeah.
But we went to school. You couldn't have phones. I remember being in high school and you could not have a phone.
Yeah. Like,
you can't have that out in class. We'll take it. And like I imagine in high school now, like you can't take someone's cell phone away, especially given there might be a shooter.
If it's that aside, like it's some kind of emergency that needs a phone to like warn authorities. I would argue that like you take my son's phone away, I'm gonna fucking raise hell, dude. Because we're paying the bill for that. That's our like. And I understand he needs to put it away. Yes,
sure,
he needs to put it away. But you don't take my son's shit.
I remember I got my cell phone taken away. I had a cell phone. This is not some like, oh, look at me. I had a cell phone before most people had a cell phone. I had a cell phone in 8th grade into 9th grade because I've only had 2 numbers my whole life. My first one was a prepaid cell phone from Singular, and it had a Northern Virginia area code because it was a way to bypass. It was a way for my mother to bypass having to talk to my dad and just talk to me directly.
Okay.
The problem is that it was prepaid, and that's back when you got charged extra if you called a number that wasn't in your area.
Yeah, dude. They used to
And we
also
had limit-
charge for text messages too. You guys,
Yeah,
you
there's
guys
that
might not
too.
know that out there,
So
but
then I eventually got a local number, which is still the same number I have, but but it was about 10th grade, and by my junior year, everyone had a cell phone. Everyone had a flip phone or fucking Razor, whatever it was. But all that to say is, I remember my phone being taken away, and my dad had to go to the school to get it back because they wouldn't give it to me.
oh,
Not
dude,
like I remember like taking it away. Okay, that's fine. After class, you give me my fucking phone.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. That's
But they
I
didn't.
will say that is a caveat. I would say you can take the phone, sure, if he's on it or whatever, yeah. But he gets it as soon as he like about to leave. You ain't keeping that shit. Fuck you. Like it's then you're gonna
And
give me
now
the
you-
cash for that day spent in your pocket. I don't give a shit, dude. I don't care if it's like $1 or $2. Give me the
You're
fucking.
gonna give me the fucking honey because they're taking my pollen from my flowers.
Yeah, dude. Oh, don't even get me started, man. Because I know that I'm right on that argument. I am absolutely. But
Anyways, the whole point was, I feel like we've hit the limit of like what's other than neural implants or Google glasses, if you want to bring them back, or like you tap it and like something happens.
yeah,
I don't feel like there's very many gimmicks left to like make the cell phone like evolve. I mean, I think it's also like it's fine the way it
Yeah.
is, but apparently, Samsung has decided to throw out a gimmick, and they're making 8 devices. Right? Correct me if I'm wrong here.
6 pairs.
Where-
6 pairs. Sorry.
6 pairs of shoes that connect to your phone.
Yeah, they're basically Bluetooth shoes in which you can control your phone from the shoe through a series of like taps. But I'm sure, given our track record of technology working flawlessly, there won't be like missed calls or like accidental foot dials, I guess is what the appropriate thing would be. But yeah, it's only for people in the Netherlands. So if you're listening to this before July 9th, you got until July 9th to enter the sweepstakes there. But why?
My
You know?
first question is why?
Yeah. Because they're hurting for money is the only thing I can think of. Like,
For a society in general that is entirely too dependent and tethered to a device, I don't think we need to lean further into that.
yeah.
And also, who's to say like you're taking a jog and you don't accidentally like?
That's what I'm saying. I would assume that these are
What's
for
the execution on this thing?
I would argue that this is for shoe people, right? This is for those people out there who are highly into shoes
That is a culture I don't understand.
whatever your bag is, buddy. I don't like to spend a whole bunch of money on things to begin with, but let alone something that's going to wear down on me very quickly. But then again, I've never had a luxury pair of shoes. So maybe it's the thing that I just haven't gotten into yet. I don't know. But
I'm not into shoe culture.
I would argue this is probably for somebody that's going to either, one, had them on a shelf for their entirety of their life, or 2, only going to take them out when they're trying to like go to a Hollywood meet party, right? They're trying to impress their friends, like, oh, watch this for a second, and then dial up their mom on their cell phone from their shoe, So it's not going to be the joggers. I'm sure they're not going to be
free, right?
That's the thing.
Or do you have to pay to enter?
Free, I think you have to pay to enter or whatever, but it's one of those things where it's like,
So there's
quote, unquote,
6 of them.
free.
That
You're
means
gonna probably have
like
to pay taxes on them.
You're gonna have one actual civilian that gets a pair, and
Mm-hmm.
the rest of them are gonna be held by the elites. And it feels like a falsely inflated, rare item. I mean,
That's what I'm saying, like or the person who's going to toss them up on eBay. Is
you
what's
could
gonna,
also
yeah.
say that all rare items are falsely inflated, for FOMO purposes and
Yeah.
stuff. But it's just like, I mean,
I do, to your point that like, yeah, you're going to make something that's going to connect us to our devices even more. I think absolutely. It's like, from that standpoint, if this was like going to be this product that they mass rolled out, like, yeah, that's gross. Like, I thought for the longest time that like having an Apple Watch was going to be something that like I needed because it helped me track my steps. It helped me track my like, different things, help me stay connected to my phone. And like now that I don't have it, I realize even more so that like it's not necessary. It is not an item that you need.
hell, you had it and didn't use it.
I had it and didn't use it. It didn't use it. It didn't help me much. And like, I feel like I'm about the same with text messages now as I was then. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah,
I used to get so pissed like 2 years ago. I'm like, he has it on his fucking watch. I know he saw it.
yeah. And I probably could have responded immediately, but you
didn't.
I didn't, So but yeah, it's just,
you're very much like Doug the dog from Up.
yeah. That's a good, that's me.
Squirrel.
Pretty much, you nailed it. That's me because I do actually yell at squirrels whenever I see them. So, oh man.
Oh, spring is here. Are you happy about it?
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
It's allergies, dude.
It's probably, I've heard from everybody, one of the worst years for allergies ever. So I'm sure that doesn't
so far.
So far, it's the worst day of allergies so far.
The hottest day on record. So far.
Yeah, of your life currently.
Of your life. Or it's the coldest day for the rest. It's the coldest summer for the rest of your life.
For now, yeah.
The thing I don't like about all this, we'll wrap it up in a minute, but the thing I don't like about all of that is that the well-orchestrated gaslighting that has occurred over the last 20 years of people denying climate change, and now it's come back all the way around to where it's full-blown accepted, but they are doing things to protect themselves for when it all inevitably happens.
It's almost like exactly what we were warned or told everybody. We were warned about.
Yeah.
And have warned everybody about. It's the fact that like, yeah, climate change is real, and then like everybody else is like, yeah, we know that now. Like, okay, like back when we could have done something about it.
They got like a fucking 20-year head start.
Yeah.
Because they had all the money and resources to do the thing.
Because I think that if you had played into it and you had also believed it from the get-go, right, everybody would have been panicking, right? Everybody would have been panicking, like, we got to do all these things. And they wouldn't have all the resources they needed in that time span to get ready.
They wouldn't have been able to buy bunkers and furnish them.
Because everybody else would have been wanting to buy bunkers, and you can't get the best bunker if everybody else is trying to get the best bunker.
Yeah, but the thing is like the common man, we do not have the resources and financial capabilities to buy said bunkers.
Do you think that they have kind of the same inverse fears about us? Like we're like what am I trying to say here? Like do you think that they think about us like, oh, they think that we can suddenly afford the best bunkers, and like so they worry that we're gonna somehow be able to eventually afford it.
Sheep to them.
Yeah, I don't think they think about us at all.
Slaughter, dude.
Yeah, I don't think they think about us at all, actually.
I think the Luigi stuff was the first time that CEOs and rich people were like, "Fuck, we're not untouchable." I
can't say any more about it because I'll say stuff that I probably shouldn't.
But I think that was the first time where they were like, "Oh,
legit, yeah,
okay, why aren't you sorry for us?"
Yeah, it's almost like when a bunch when I don't know, 4 or 5, I can't remember now, which is sad, of the richest people on the planet were crushed in a submarine because of their own stupidity, and nobody had sympathy for them, and they didn't understand it then. But now, like, and then once one of their fellow compatriots got, slaughtered on the streets in cold blood, they didn't understand it. Like, they didn't understand why we didn't care much either. And so it's like they just won't get the message.
It's like they're tone deaf,
It's almost like they're tone deaf and they don't know what's going on around them. Yeah.
Which has been my argument for the longest time when I have conversations with people about, let's say, politics.
Yeah.
It's that the people in charge do not know what it's like to be a human being, an actual like living paycheck to paycheck citizen.
They haven't
struggled.
For a long
they don't
time.
know what the struggles of it, and so they can't relate to you, which is why I for a long time have never related to a fucking politician or anyone in power.
And I guess
because it's like, you aren't me. You don't speak for me. You don't know me. You don't know what it's like to be me.
And a lot of it might have to do with the fact that like they were alive during I don't know, segregation, a lot of them, right?
They were alive during it's
like,
just like,
back whenever they could get bread for 50 cents, right?
They
live
like,
on that. That's still what their thinking is, I think.
People like, I say people, like, it's like Bernie Sanders and AOC. And it's like, oh, I love their message. They're just like us. No, they're fucking not.
I hate to say
they're
it,
not.
But yeah, they're not. They don't.
They're nothing like you. Now, AOC might be the closest because she's like of our age and she's sort of like tends to view things in a little bit more of a normal manner.
Yeah.
Like things that
like she'll be fun and go live on Twitch and shit like that. But like, yeah.
She plays Animal Crossing. Okay, again, like all of these things that kind of quasi connect her to like our age group. She doesn't. She's been in there too.
It's all the work.
Does not. And it's not. I'm just talking about in generalities.
Yeah.
Like The problem, like I said, is it's the division, the proverbial and the imaginary dividing line is not what people think it is, but they've been convinced it is.